There's no more there's no more data anymore. So ultimately, I got it all done already. Most of this harder stuff. The rest is just really the lights. So look at this rat's nest. And where was this from? I had it draped over here. Look at this. I actually cleared stuff up, put it on top, put the battery charger on, looked at a bunch of stuff, and before I cleaned my garage, I took it, I had taken it out of the garage and had laid a bunch of cardboard over here. But I also had a bag, it's not here anymore, I threw it out. It was a bag of calcium chloride. I just happened to leave it on there, but then it rained a couple of times. Everything took longer with the garage, so then I didn't get to it. And I didn't realize a little bit of calcium chloride that leaked through the bag got over everywhere and pretty much did a nice number. I mean, I noticed it rusting like kind of right away, but it's like, it's pretty freaking rusty. Like this shit barely dripped on it, you know? It was mixed with rainwater. And it was diluted at best, and it was, the cardboard was soaked at times, but then it would drain out, But I don't have any antifreeze in here. But I had gotten it running prior to this, and this is when I realized the radiator was bad. That's what started this whole thing, to the point where I put AC in it now, not on the inside, just on the outside so far. But I, even though I ripped out this harness, I already basically made my own harness for the, the engine works part. So, can't see nothing because this phone is messed up. Alright, light doesn't work. But, see, constant duty solenoid. Thank God the carburetor didn't get messed up. I was worried about that stuff getting in the carburetor, even though I had this more covered. As you can tell, it's not even really warmed up. Now, it has, I can feel a slight shake. You might even see it. But that has to be because of the wires, because the thing ran perfect once I got this carburetor. But it still sounds pretty darn good. So, perhaps I'm going to mess with some wiring very soon. Let me start another video. So the wires like this, and this is actually for the steering column. So you can see the wires are coming through. Don't know if I can bother redoing this or not. I'm probably not. Just do something else in its place. This thing here, this is the one I was, concerned about because, the wiring pretty much stays intact. It's the insulation. But being that the other car, the insulation is way up high, that's why actually the first 6 inches here are okay. And then it starts to go haywire because it gets exposed. So I was really thinking about I might just save this. Nothing is color coded, so it's kind of a pain in the ass, And but this thing kind of, it goes into some kind of a hole, and that helps protect the rest of the wires. That's why they're probably in better shape. This was this something? This was something that came with the car. I bought something like this aftermarket, but not sure if this was already aftermarket or not. It doesn't look like it's old, but it's hard to say. But this has pretty much got to go. It's really just the light harness for the most part. There was something for the voltage regulator in there, which it's all bypassed now because everything's going to be for the alternator. Yeah, this is all for the lights. This is for the lights. Sorry, the whole thing light. This was going to, I thought it was going to the alternator, but I could be wrong. This is going to the other headlight. That's going to, one headlight, the other headlight. And then these are going to the old generator, which were cut off already anyway. These are going to the voltage regulator. This is the high beam switch. This was the steering column. This was the rest of the harness that goes to the back of the car. This is some kind of individual circuit. This is like for the blower motor of some sort. And there's another switch that's on the ground over here with that wire. Don't remember what it was for. I guess, the light switch. Unless this is the light switch and that one is the thing. You see how the fuses are on it. I mean, I can use these switches, you know, obviously. You may want to bypass these fuses, because who wants to go underneath the dashboard to change them? So if there's a way, I wonder if they make fuses that actually are bypass fuses. Either that, or I just put gigantic fuses in them so they never blow, and then I hook it all up to my, you know, my own switch and stuff. And then you got all these guys, which are totally replaceable, or this is a possibility they could be redone, you know. But you know, when the wire is torn there, you can't have that on a metal, you know, right next to a metal ground. So, and this was already, I had tied it off, and I guess this might have went to the starter, because it had that stupid switch on the carburetor, which I eliminated already. So I think I did a lot of the hard work already, you know. So it's mainly, the only thing I really needed for is the lights, and ultimately the rear wiring, which is also lights, you know. But for the back of the car. So I'm basically going to make a new lighting circuit, you know, with a brakes light switch. And I mean, really, like, all this heavier wire here is not necessary, because I've already tackled it, you know. These were the original horn wires, and I believe I had already redone the horn. There's no more data anymore. So ultimately, I got it all done already. Most of this harder stuff. The rest is just really the lights. So I decided to wait to post what I wanted to post, and add this to the last one. But you see, I took apart the whole harness and started trying to evaluate some of these wires. And of course, I got extra circuits that I'm putting in. I have this aftermarket thing, and I'm looking at it, and I'm basically just making my own. Like, this guy is going to be the jumper one that goes from one end to the other, as far as the you know, the lights go. Just that little block that's on the side there. And this is basically what I've made. Basically, this is all the lighting. It's the lighting. It's the brake light. It's the proportioning valve brake light for the warning. High beam switch. And, you know, parking lights and all that stuff. And this is what I'm planning on doing here. This really became a mess. I'm starting to think, you know, I ended up being, when I did these brake pedals, it ended up moving over. So when I try to put this guy in, I was like, wow, it's not lining up. So I keep grinding and grinding and grinding. So eventually I have to figure out something, how I'm going to get those rubber bushings back in. But this is my new brake light switch. I decided to mount it here, because by doing so, that brake pedal rod right here, that brake pedal rod right there, ends up going down, because I realized that it wasn't exactly where I wanted. This right now is on, that's off. Okay. Oh my god. Stupid lighting. Alright. So that's on, and that's off. So when you bolt this all in, that's going to shut it off. And then I got to make the wires run there. Lots of stuff, you know. And oh gee, I just realized I left something in this anti-corrosion solution here. That's the things here, and they probably didn't work. It may have gotten worse, because this might be not so great. This is what I was cleaning the gas tank with on the other car. I don't know. I can actually see a little bit of bare metal there. So the silver screw is a different screw, but I was trying to clean it. I tried sandblasting it. It really didn't work. So I'm gonna have to just, like, physically. I gotta get a wire wheel on it. You know, I just didn't want to hurt the board. But that's basically it. I'm cleaning up things and figuring out a bunch of stuff, and making sure I have enough wires run into the car. And then I'll eventually splice it all in. These aftermarket things they're kind of weird, because, you know, you have some things that are powered. There's a long, you know, harness and a short harness, and they kind of don't go together. Like, I'd have to mix and match some of these wires, and I guess they do something to make it justify what they do, but it's not for this car. So I'm going to have to play with this, and I already ran wires in this harness, so I'd have to splice it into here, and rather than splicing it, I may want to take out the wire, or either that, I'll leave the wire there, and it'll be an extra wire that's running through the system, and add one of the, you know, the wires as I go. You know, they're basically power leads, but they gotta kind of go through the switch before it goes to the fuse. So something, you know, or, you know, because usually you turn on the headlights and then you have power to the fuse box, and then that goes to, you know, then it goes through the fuse, and then, you know, so a few things got to be worked out in my head. I'm getting tired. I got to work tomorrow and the next day, so I'm going to be pretty much out of it. So with that, I'll let this video go. So I restarted working on this 1940 Buick, and hopefully something gets accomplished somewhere, with something. Because this was a lot, and this is an important step that I had to take. All right, thank you for watching.